Hi, session number 28 now. And we'll just have to keep going for the foreseeable future, but hopefully maybe this vaccine that's coming along might just, in the not too distant future, bring us back together again. But let's just start off with that posture check. Back of the head, shoulder blades, buttocks and heels up against that imaginary wall. Opening the chest, slide the fingertips down, seam of trouser leg. Tilt the pelvis slightly so the tailbone points towards the floor. Keeping that zip up and hollow, pulling up and pulling in. Maybe just let the knees roll out a little bit, arch of the foot lifting. And then of course the breathing full and wide into the ribs. So you don't interfere with that pull up and pull in. And then just take a breath in, and as you breathe out, float the arms up to shoulder height and breathe in to push down. Lifting the arms up without lifting the shoulders and push down as you're pushing down through some thick custard. Exhale to lift and inhale to push down. Exhale to lift and inhale, bring the hands behind the head. Exhale, squeeze the shoulders up into the ears. Inhale, push down and then stretch down. So you're lifting the arms up, take the hands behind the head. Do a big squeeze up, push down. Now add a squeeze back and open the chest. And then push the arms down. So maybe exhale to lift, inhale, hands behind. Exhale to squeeze the shoulders up. Inhale to bring the shoulders down. Exhale to squeeze back. And then just gently bring the arms all the way down, keeping that chest open. So you're lifting the arms up, take the hands behind. Do a big squeeze up, push down, pull back, and then lengthen up, and try and just lengthen up through the back of the neck. So you do a lifting up, hands behind. Do a big squeeze up, shoulders into ears. Push down, pull back, and then pop your head up like a cork out of a bottle. Then adding on. Floating the arms up, hands behind the head. Do a big squeeze up, push down, pull back, and then stretch down. Slide the shoulder blades down your back. And then drop your right ear into your shoulder. And then bring the head back into alignment. And then go the other way, keeping everything else stable, back into alignment. So you're just floating up, hands behind. Do that big squeeze up, push down, pull back, stretching down, keeping the chest open. Drop the ear, bring it back, drop the other ear, bring it back. And then just drop the chin and do a lovely roll down towards the toes. Drop, 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 tummy button pulled up. Let the head drop and dangle. And then slowly, slowly come up. Link by link, bone by bone. Shoulder blade, shoulders, back of the head up against that imaginary wall. Then again, you're floating the arms up, hands behind. Squeeze up, push down, pull back. Just warming up those shoulders, shoulder girdle. Pushing down, and then drop that right ear, and then bring it back, and the left ear, and bring the head back, and then do that lovely roll down. Just drop the head, let your breathing flow, leading with the arms and the head. Let the head hang heavy, let the arms dangle. Then do that lovely nod just to release any tension in the neck. Shake, 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 shake the head. And then slowly come up, all the way up, link by link, bone by bone, shoulder blade, shoulders, back of the head, up against that imaginary wall. So you do that, floating the arms up, and a squeeze right up into the ears, pushing down, pulling back, stretching up through that piece of string, the centre of your head. Allow the ear to go into the shoulder, and get the stretch through the neck, lengthen back up. And take the head the other way, keeping everything else stable, and then lengthen, and then keeping those knees relaxed. Drop the chin and slowly, slowly head down towards the toes. Drop. Maybe go that little bit further, adding the nod and then the shake, and then still letting your breathing flow, engaging the tummy, support your back, slowly coming up, shoulders back and down. Then take your breath in, and as you breathe out, float the arms forward and breathe in, bring them down. And then each time you do it, lift those arms that little bit higher. Try not to rock forward or back, keeping the weight even between the balls of the feet and the heels. Exhale to lift the arms all the way up and inhale to float them down. Just reaching up and then add a big circle, take the arms all the way round and back and down, opening the chest. So maybe exhaling up and inhale, sweeping round. And again, this time adding a squat onto that. So as you sweep the arms round, you start to bend the knees and sit. And pushing up tall. Start to warm up the lower part of the body, reaching the arms up, sweeping all the way round, opening the chest and taking the hips back all the way into the heels. So you can actually lift your toes off the floor there. And then pushing up tall. Reaching forward and circling. And then taking the hips back and down. Keep the chest lifted. And keep the orange between the knees. And pushing up tall, using those thighs. Reaching forward and up and round. And do that little squat and hold. Keep the chest up, shoulders down. And then lift the right knee up to hip height and balance. Or you might just want to lift the heel off the floor and leave the toes down. And then replace the foot. Reaching forward, circle those arms, warming up those shoulders. And sit. Make sure the knees don't go any further forward than the toes. And then as you come up, you would lift either just the heel or you could lift the knee up and balance. Bring the knee level with the hip. And hold. Replace the foot. Reaching forward, all the way up. And that little sit again. Keeping the shoulders down and back. And then lifting the heel, or if you want to, you can lift the knee up, hold it there. And then maybe you could add on to that and just push the leg back behind. Keep the chest lifted, straight leg. Of course, you can just put the toes onto the floor to do that if you need to. And bring the foot back down. Reaching forward, all the way up and round. And deep, deep squat. Take those hips right back, all the weight into the heels. And then lifting up, lift either just the heel or lift the knee up all the way. Hold, and then a little push back if you can. Feel the buttock engaged, keep the chest lifted. Or you can just leave the toes on the floor if you need to. And then gently bring the foot back down. Reaching forward, sweeping all the way around. And that little sit again. And adding on the knee lift or just the heel raise. Hold, keep the shoulders back and down. Push the arms, the leg back. Hold that there. And then see if you could take the leg out to the side. Just lift the arms up and balance. Or you can leave the toes on the floor, of course. And then just bring the leg back down. So you're doing your reach forward, sweeping up, round and back and down. And that little squat and hold. Then you add your knee lift and again hold. Push the leg back and hold. Keep the chest up. And if you can, you take the leg out to the side, but of course you can't just leave the toes on the floor. Balance, outside hip and thigh working. And then gently bring it back down. Of course, you're trying to keep your torso as stable as you can while you do all of this. Reaching forward all the way up. Sweep it round and squat and hold. Then you lift the knee or lift the heel and hold and balance. Then you push the leg back with or without lifting it, or you can leave the toes on the floor if you want. And then taking the leg out to the side, arms out to the side. Maybe you could do a little bit more of a lean over. Lifting the arm up by the ear, reach across. And see how far you can go. And then bring it back and down. And again, reaching forward all the way up. Sweep it round and squat. Then taking it into that knee lift and balance. And then squeeze back and hold. And then take it out to the side. You can always leave the toes on the floor if you need to. If you can, you lift and you hold and you balance. And once you've got your balance, maybe you could take the arm up by the ear and just lean it over a little bit. A little bit of wobbling going on, of course. That doesn't matter, you're challenging your balance. And the toes come down, slide back under. And then maybe just one more time. reaching forward all the way up, round and deep squat. Just warming up those hips, knees, thighs and buttocks. Pushing up and balancing, lifting the knee, the hip flexor coming into play. Keep the shoulders back and down. Chest up as you push back, but you can just leave the toes on the floor. Then again to the side, toes on the floor if you need to. Then if you can, you add that lean over just as far as you can. Maybe take it a little way, then take it a little bit further. Then you bring it back and slide under. Then just repeating one more time to the other side. Forward, up and round, all the way round and deep squat. Then lifting the knee or just the heel, hold. Push back with the leg, keep that chest lifted, straight legs, so you can feel the buttock engage. So it's not too high. And then out to the side, hold it there if you want to. Then if you can, you lift the arm up and you take it over a little bit. Reaching over and balance, just as far as you can. Hold and balance, always one side better than the other side. And toes come down, slide back under. Check your position, back of the head, shoulder blades, buttocks and heels. Up always against that imaginary wall. And then from here, floating the arms up, hands behind, squeeze it up, push it down, pull back, and then stretch down, lengthen up through the neck, drop your right ear, lengthen up in the center, drop the left ear, lengthen up in the center, then relax the knees and just drop the chin. Do that lovely roll down again. Hold that there, nodding the head. Shake, 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 shake the head. And then just slowly come up again. Getting more flexibility into the spine, shoulders back and down. And then if you'd just like to get to your mat and stand on the back of your mat and just do that lovely roll down again. Drop the chin, relax the knees, peel yourself off the wall like a piece of wet wallpaper, head down, keep the arms close into the legs, nod the head again just to release any tension in the upper back. Shake, 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 shake the head. And then bend the knees a little bit more, put the hands onto the floor and walk out onto your hands and knees. If you are not comfortable on the hands and knees, please just go onto your front and take the forehead down onto the backs of the hands. Peach underneath the chin, slide your shoulder blades down your back, just tuck that pelvis under, keeping the tummy button pulled right up into your backbone. And then cup of tea between the shoulder blades. Remember, you can always come up onto your knuckles. Actually, you could always go down on your elbows even with this one as well. So you can decide on your front if necessary. Keeping that cup of tea still between the shoulder blades. Keep the orange wick between the knees. And then just take a breath in. And as you breathe out, bring the hip bones into the bottom of the rib cage. And breathe in to release. So that's all you're doing. Try not to move that cup of tea. That is between the shoulder blades. Just exhale, scoop out the tummy and bring the hip bones to the bottom of the rib cage. Just a pelvic tilt, but trying to keep everything still from the waist up. It's just a small movement, engaging those deep abdominal muscles. Pulling up that pelvic floor as well at the same time. So pulling up and holding that pelvic floor as well as tilting the pelvis. Keep the shoulders down away from the ears and then see if you can add on to that. See if you can bring the right hip round into the bottom of the right rib cage and bring it back to center. Do pelvic tilt in the center and release and exhale, swing the hips round to the other side and breathe in and bring it back. So you're doing a pelvic tilt in the center, still putting up that pelvic floor, and then a hip hitch to one side, just swing your bottom round to the side. And then the pelvic tilt in the center, and then the hip pitch to the other side. So it's just a small movement, isolating the pelvis. And of course, upper body strength, keeping everything stable from the waist up and promoting bone growth into the wrists. Swing to the side. So there's a little nip as you bring your hip into the side of the rib cage, that waist working as well. Do that tucking under and then swing the hips. And then back again to the center and tuck under and release. Keep the tummy button pulled up and in. Keep that pelvic floor pulled up a little bit. And then just scoot all the way out onto your right side. Might have to move my cat. And then just check your position to begin with. Take that right arm back a little bit. Roll that top hip slightly forward so you're balancing on your hip and lengthening through the legs. Remember, you can always turn your toes up, have a look at the toes and make sure you can just see the toes. If you can see too much of your feet, you take the legs back. If you can't see your feet at all, you bring the legs forward. So you stack, shoulders, hips, knees and ankles stacked. Shoulder blades sliding down your back. Just let the head rest so the neck is relaxed. Remember, you can always leave that top hand in front of you. And then just take a breath in, and as you breathe out, just lift the top leg, not high, and breathe in to lower it down. Try and keep balance. Cup of tea on the outside of the hip. Exhale to lift and inhale to lower. Just lengthening through the leg, through both the legs, keeping that bottom leg as straight as you can. Remember, you can leave the hand in front. You can put the hand behind to open the chest and pull the shoulder back and down. You can try hand down seam of trouser leg. Or you could even take that arm up towards the ceiling. Just turning your right palm up would make it more challenging. And you can take that left hand over the top of your head, which is the most hard position to balance in. Keep that waist lifted a little bit off the hot stone. And then when you've got that going, what you're going to do is add a hip hitch onto that. So you lift the top leg and you hitch the hip up into the bottom of the rib cage. Release and relax. Try and keep that waist lifted a little bit off your little flat hot stone. Exhale, lift. Inhale, hip hitch. Exhale, release. And inhale down. Outside hip and thigh working. Waist working. Release and down. And again, you put that top hand wherever you need it to be. You can decide. Just lift, squeeze, release and down. Then we could add a little bit more balance onto that. Lift, squeeze, release, hold, and then lift the bottom leg up into the top leg. Squeeze them together and lower them down. And you might need to put that top hand in front of you to facilitate that. So you do a lift, still do that hip hitch, release, and then the bottom leg comes up and you squeeze. Make sure that top shoulder stays away from the ears and lowering the leg. Putting that top hand wherever it needs to be. Lift, hip hitch, release, lift bottom leg up, squeeze and balance and lower down. Putting, of course, that top hand wherever you need it to be. Hitching that hip up, really feel that squeeze in the middle. Keep lengthening through the legs. Inner thigh and that bottom leg working there. Waist up and lower working. So it's a lift, hip hitch, lengthen, bottom leg comes up, squeeze and down. Then maybe you could add a little bit of upper body into this. You might need to put that left hand in front of you again. So you do a lift, hitch the hip up, lengthen through the leg, lift the bottom leg up, squeeze, keep that right palm turned down, and then lift your upper body and take your rib to your hip as well as your hip to your rib. And then gently take it back down. Of course, if that's too much, you don't need to add that on. So it would be lift, hip hitch, extend the leg, bottom leg up, squeeze, and without engaging your neck, push up. So you're not heaving up with your head. You're lifting with your waist and pressing down with that right arm. And then gently down. And of course you can challenge yourself with where you put that left hand. So you do a lift, hip hitch, lengthen, bottom leg comes up, squeeze, lift up, maybe slide that hand down, seeing the trouser leg, push a little bit more, rib to hip to rib, balance. and then gently take the whole lot back down. You can decide where you need to put that left hand. So it's just a lift, hip hitch, lengthen, hold, bottom leg up, squeeze, hold, push up balance, remember not to use the neck, and then lengthen through the arm. And of course you could take that arm up towards the ceiling, hold and balance, and gently take it back down. And you can always put that hand back just to help you with the push up. Lift, hip hitch, lengthen, bottom leg, squeeze, push up and hold. Keep that neck in line with the spine, the beach underneath the chin. Reaching down, maybe reaching up. Then you could turn the head to challenge your balance a little bit more. Hold and balance, and then take it down. But you don't have to do all the add-ons, and you can leave that left hand wherever you need it to be. So we'll do one more repetition, but of course you can stop and do some more. Lift, hip hitch, lengthen, and lift and hold, and then push up, hold and balance, slide the hand down. Maybe you can lift the arm up, maybe you can turn the head. Just turning the head challenges the balance. And then gently take it back down. And take that top arm over the top of your head, take hold of that top wrist. With the bottom hand, give a little tug, lengthen through the legs, still balancing, core muscles still working. You're getting a good stretch down the side. Take the ribs from the hips and the hips from the ribs. Holding that there. And then if you just want to gently, please roll over onto your back. And if it's comfortable for you, just leaving the legs out straight, you might need to just brace the tummy a little bit more, tilt the pelvis slightly to get you back down on your little grape under there. If that's not comfortable, of course, you could bend the knees with the feet flat on the floor if your back doesn't like the straight legs. And then just try to keep everything from the waist up absolutely still. Brace the tummy, and then just hitch the hip up into the bottom of the rib cage. So with the right hip, just hitch it up and bring it back down. So you're not lifting your bottom off the floor, it's just literally hip hitch. That's 3. Going to do 7 more. Just tilt the hip up into the bottom of the rib cage. Keep that pelvic floor pulled up a little bit as well. I think that might be 5 or 6. And just keep going. So it's in effect making the leg shorter, just hitching the hip up. Everything from the waist up stays still. Then when you think you've done approximately 10, keep lengthening through those legs and have a go on the other side. Just hitch the hip up, exhale up, inhale to release. Squeeze. Trying to keep everything else stable. So just exhale up and inhale to release. And keep lengthening through the other leg. You can always do this with the bent leg if you need to, or bent legs if you need to. We'll do a couple more because, as usual, I've got no idea how many I've done, but hopefully you managed to do about 10 on either side. And then just relax. Then slide the feet in so the knees are up, feet flat on the floor. Take a moment to set this up. Orange width between the knees. Shoulders, hips, knees, ankles aligned. Brace the tummy. Get that tray of marbles and balance it across your hip bones. And then just take a breath in, and as you breathe out, hover the right foot a tiny bit off the floor and breathe in and put it down. Exhale, left foot a tiny bit off the floor and inhale, put it down. So that's all you're doing. Exhaling to hover and inhale to put the foot down. So you're not lifting the leg up high, it's just literally a hover. Exhale, lift, inhale down. While keeping your pelvis absolutely flat. You might want to put your hands on your pelvis just to check that it's not moving. So you've got to really brace those tummy muscles. Keep the little grape resting in the small of your back. So when you lift the foot up, you're not tilting the pelvis and crushing your grape. And then when you put your foot down, you're not arching your back off your grape. Just hover and down. hover and down. Now if you want to stay with that, you can stay with that. Otherwise, you extend one leg and then carefully the other leg, making sure that you're not arching your back when you extend the legs. So keep the tummy brace, maybe tilt the pelvis slightly to keep the back on your grape. And then you're just going to hover the straight leg as you exhale, inhale, put it down. Remember, just a tiny hover. Exhale to lift and inhale to lower. Keeping that torso absolutely stable, making sure your pelvis does not rock from side to side. Lengthening through the legs. If it is not comfortable, of course you can go back to the bent leg. Keep the chin down over the peach. So just exhale to hover, inhale down, exhale, hover, inhale down. Now you can make this more challenging. So you slide the feet back in, keep the chin down over the peach, and then hover one foot, then the other foot, and then put the first one down, the second one down. Then you start with the other foot. So you just exhale, up, up, inhale, down, down. Alternating the leg that you start with, and of course making sure that nothing else moves. You're not arching your back or tilting your pelvis. Now if that's too much, of course, you can stay with the bent leg and just do lift, lower, or you can do the straight leg and just do lift, lower, or you can make it even more challenging. You can do the straight legs and do lift, lower, alternating the leg. You've really got to brace your tummy for this one though. So just lift, lower. And remember, it's just a tiny move. Lifting higher actually makes it easier. Don't want to be doing that. So if it's too much, of course, you go back to the earlier options. So that's the hardest one there with the straight leg. Next hardest would be the bent leg, lift, lower. Next hardest would be the straight leg, lift, lower. And the next hardest would be where we started, which is the lift, lower. You're deciding which level you can manage and stay with that. Straight legs or bent legs. And then you decide when you've had enough of that. And when you have, then you just hug those knees into the chest and have a little rock side to side. Remember, you can always stop the video and just repeat and do as many repetitions as you find comfortable. A little rock side to side, then maybe put hands on tops of the knees and push them around in a circle. Just circle those knees around. First one way, and then the other way. And then just bringing those knees back in together and put one foot down, the other foot down. Take a moment to set this up again. Making sure you have got your tray marbles across your pelvis. Little grape in the small of your back, bring your chin down over your peach, stretch the fingertips towards your toes. And then just take a breath in. As you breathe out, lift one knee up to tabletop, breathe in and put it down. Exhale, other leg up to tabletop, breathe in and put it down. So just lifting and lowering alternate legs without, of course, your pelvis moving. Keeping your torso as stable as you can. Just exhale up and inhale down. So you lift the leg, making sure your pelvis isn't tilting. And as you put your foot down, make sure your back isn't arching. Now if you want to stay with that, keeping the tummy braced, then you can stay with that. Otherwise, you could try that with the straight leg. So extending the legs out, extend one leg, then the other leg, bracing the tummy, maybe tilt the pelvis slightly, and then lift and lower. Exhale up and inhale down. Now, if you find that your hamstrings are too tight, please just stay with the bent leg and do tabletop. Again, making sure when you lift the leg that you don't tilt the pelvis, crush the grape, and when you push the leg down, that you're not arching your back off your grape. Then you can, of course, make that more challenging Breathing in, nod your head. Breathing out, curl up, crush the grip. And then lift your straight leg up and swap. Exhale to swap, inhale to swap. Now you could hold on just behind your thigh, your calf, or you could have one hand behind the thigh, one hand behind the calf, you decide, and curl in towards your knee, keeping your back pressed into the mat. If that's too much, of course, you can support the head with one hand while you just move the other hand from leg to leg. Press your head into your hand into your head. You can leave the head and shoulders on the floor. And of course, you can stay with the bent leg, with the curler in. You decide which level, but make sure your back is pressed in to the mat. Support the head if you need to. Put the head and shoulders down if you need to. And of course, if you put your head and shoulders down, then you would make sure that you put your grape back in. Whereas in this position, your grape is crushed. Maybe exhale to swap and inhale to swap. And again, you decide how many repetitions you want to do with that. And then just bring it back and put one foot down, the other foot down. Roll the head and shoulders down, and then let the head roll from side to side and ease out any tension in the neck. Just let the head roll nice, slowly ease out the neck, and then bring it back to center. Stretch the legs out, take the arms over the top of your head, and give yourself a lovely big stretch through from the tips of your fingers to the tips of your toes. Lengthen and stretch. Breathe. Lengthen through the legs. Lift the rib cage away from the pelvis. Lovely big stretch. And then the best way you know how, going on to your left side. So you might want to breathe in, nod your head. Float the arms up towards the ceiling. Breathing out. Peel yourself off up to sitting. Or you could, of course, put your hands behind your lower back. Press down with the palms of the hands. Breathe in, nod your head. Breathing out, push up to sitting. But of course, always with grace, elegance and control. And then just swing it round to your left side. And take a moment to set that one up. Making sure you take that left arm back a little bit. And just check again your position, making sure you are in line with the edge of the mat. And then keeping the head down, the neck relaxed, shoulder down away from the ear, waist lifted a little bit off that little flat hot stone. And then putting that right hand wherever you feel you need it to be, lengthening through both of the legs, and then just exhale to lift the top leg and inhale to lower it down. Exhale to lift and inhale to lower. Immediately challenging your balance, keeping that cup of tea on the outside of the hip. So engaging the tummy, pulling up and pulling in. And then once you've got it going, then you can challenge your balance with where you put that right hand. Further out, easier. Base is wider, closer in, narrower, more challenging. You can put the hand behind, remember, or down the seam of the trouser leg, up towards the ceiling, or even turning that left palm up, take the right arm over the top of your head. Working into the outside hip and thigh, arm by the ear, ear by the arm. And just lift and lower. And of course, if that's too much and your cup of tea's wobbling, you put that right hand wherever it works best. Keep lengthening through that bottom leg. Make sure that bottom leg does not bend. And then lift the top leg to the hip hitch, release and down. So you would do exhale, lift, inhale, hitch the hip up, exhale, lengthen and inhale down. All the while keeping that bottom leg long and challenging yourself with where you put that right hand. Squeezing up, feel that little nip into the waist. lengthening through the leg as you release that hitch. And then adding in the bottom leg. Lift, hip hitch, lengthen, bottom leg lifts, and you squeeze those thighs together and lower the legs down. Putting, again, that right hand wherever you need it to be. Exhale up, inhale, hip pitch, exhale, lengthen. Inhale, lift that bottom leg. Exhale, squeeze, and inhale to lower. So then you're adding in that bottom leg, inner thigh into this as well. And of course, lifting both the legs off the floor, balancing. So those core muscles have to work that little bit harder again. And then maybe you could add in the upper body, so turn that left palm down, lift, squeeze, and then possibly putting that right hand in front, lift. Keep the neck in line with the spine, rib towards the hip, hip to the rib, and then gently take it back down. So you do lift, hitch, lengthen, bottom leg comes up, squeeze, and then lift. Keeping the neck in line, make sure you don't heave up with the head. So nice and smooth, feeling that outside hip and thigh working, then the inner thigh, and more waist, and of course a little bit of upper body strength as well. And then of course you can, if you want to, challenge yourself with your balance a little bit more. Lift, hitch the hip, lengthen, bottom leg up, squeeze, lift and hold, balance, and slide the hand down, seeing the trouser leg, slide the hand down towards the knee. So taking the shoulder away from the ear, have a little balance, and then gently take it back down. If that's too much, you don't need to add that on, of course. Lift, hitch, extend, bottom leg, lift, balance. And then maybe just slide that hand down, maybe lift the arm up, hold, keep that top hip roll forward, gently take it down with, of course, control. It's really important that it's all done with control. So nice and slow. And then if you want to, you lift up and then hold and balance. Maybe slide the hand down, lift the arm up, and of course you can turn the head. Oh, look, balancing. Really challenges your balance with that turn of the head. So just lift, hitch, extend, bottom leg comes up, pushing up, balance, and slide the hand down if that's enough, lift the arm up if that's enough, hold, and then look up. And then gently, with control, bring the whole lot back down. And you decide, again, how many repetitions you feel comfortable with, and just repeat as necessary. Balance. That's really a lot more challenging when you turn the head. And then when you've done enough, just take that top arm over the top of your head, take hold of that top wrist, and lengthen. Lift the rib cage away from the hip, still balancing. So those tummy muscles are still pulled up and pulled in, but getting a good stretch down the side of your body. Holding that there. Keep lengthening through the legs. And then gently, please, just roll over onto your front. And then taking the hands into crucifix position, bend the elbows at a 90-degree angle. And then maybe take the legs out into a wider V shape, turn the big toes in towards one another to relax the buttocks. And then tummy button pulled up and in, cup of tea on the back of the pelvis, sliding those shoulder blades down your back. And then without pushing with the arms, take a breath in, and as you breathe out, just hover the head, the shoulders and the chest off the floor, and breathe in to go down. If you've got your cheek turned to the side, you would just lift up, turn the head, look at the floor, and then gently go down. But if you can, forehead on the floor, keep your peach underneath your chin, exhale up, and inhale down. Just lift and lower. Now if that's okay, you can stay with that. Or you could make it a little bit more challenging. You could bring the hands underneath the armpits with the elbows pointing up towards the ceiling. And then lift without pushing with the hands. And then gently take it down. If that's not comfortable, you can of course stay with the first option with the arms crucifix position, elbows bent at a 90-degree angle. And then see if you can, just lift the upper body and push up, all the way up. Slide those shoulder blades down your back, hold it there, and then gently take it back down. Keep the elbows tucked into the side. If that's too much, of course, you can stay with the first option, which would be the arms out to the side crucifix position, and you can add the lift from there. But as you can see, there's not quite as much range of movement through your spine. But that might work better for your shoulders. But still working your back. And a little bit of upper body strength as well. So you would just lift, keep your eyes focused on the floor. Remember, you're not coming up onto your knees. You're coming up onto the thighs. Just pushing up, slide the shoulder blades down. Make sure the shoulders don't come up around the ears. Keep lengthening through the neck, peach underneath the chin. Backs of the arms working, the bingo wing department. Keeping those elbows tucked into the sides so you can feel your arms skimming the side of your body while you do this. So really feel the backs of the arms work as well as getting flexibility into your spine. Now what you can do is bring the legs back into alignment and then push up, and then as you come down, start to lift the legs. So you do a push up, then as you come down, lift the legs. Now you can do that with the arms crucifix as well, with the elbows bent at a 90-degree angle. But this of course will get much more into your tricep muscles in the backs of the arms. If it's too much, of course, you can do upper body first, go down, and then lift leg or legs. You could even do single, single, double with the legs, with the head down. Just any combination. But if you can, you push up, and then as you come down, lift the legs. Now, if you wanted to make it a little bit more challenging, you could come down and hover the hands and push up. Come down, hover the hands and push up. If that's too much, you stay with the earlier options. This, of course, might even get your heart rate going as well. Make you a little bit breathless. But really working into the arms, load bearing for your wrists, buttocks and back working. Again, you decide which level you want to do, but make sure there's no strain on the neck. Keep that peach underneath the chin. And then when you've done enough, come up onto the hands and knees. Arch the back, drop the head, and give your back a really good stretch. Remember, you can come up onto your knuckles, tucking that pelvis under. Hold that there. Drop the head, get a really good stretch. And then just cross the arms, please, at the wrists. Do that big arch again. Stretch between the shoulder blades, drop the head. And then changing the crossover. Remember, you can always bring your hands closer in towards your knees to get a bit more of an arch in there. Head down, tummy pulled up still. And then just sit back onto the heels if you can do that. Maybe stretch the arms out in front, elbows on the floor, and rotate the wrists. Or you can take the arms behind you and rotate the wrists. Or of course you can sit on your bottom, swing your legs round in front of you, put a beach ball on your lap, reach over the beach ball for your toes, and rotate those wrists. Just easing out those wrists. And stretching the lower back and the buttocks, opening the knees a little bit, get those hips back further. But still, of course, breathing full and wide into the ribs. And then if you just want to come into a sitting position, please, and bring the soles of the feet together. Putting the hands behind you, sitting up nice and tall. open the chest, slide the shoulder blades down your back. Maybe slide the heels a little bit closer in towards your body. Just let the weight of your legs take your knees towards the floor and stretch those inner thighs. And of course, encouraging flexibility into your hips as well. Hold and stretch. And then relax, stretching the legs out in front of you. And then cross your right foot over your left thigh. Wrap that left arm around the leg and hug it right into the chest. Putting the right hand behind, sit up tall and rotate and look over your right shoulder. Hold and stretch. Maybe take a breath in, and as you breathe out, turn that a little bit further. Get some more stretch around your middle and your neck, as well as the outside of the hip and thigh. And then unknotting the legs, swapping to the other side. And just hug the leg in. Put that left hand behind, sit up tall and rotate. Turn the head. Hold that there. Maybe take a breath in as you breathe out. Twist that a little bit further. More flexibility for your spine as well. And then just relax, unknotting the legs. And then putting the legs over onto one side, coming onto the hands and knees. Walking the hands into the knees, tucking the toes under. Hover the knees, push the hips up into the air. Walk the hands into the toes with the head down, the knees slightly bent. Once the heels are flat on the floor, keep that tummy engaged, keep the arms close into the legs, and slowly come up. Link by link, bone by bone, up against that imaginary wall. Chest open. And then take a big step back with that right foot, back heel off the floor. Bend both the knees and push that right hip forward. So then you can feel the stretch in the front of the hip. Then maybe keeping the shoulders level, chin down over the peach. Just lean back the upper body and push that hip forward a little bit more. Core muscles working to keep you stable. Balancing. Get a good stretch in the front of that hip. And then when you're ready, just change legs. Slide the foot back, back heel stays off the floor while you bend both the knees. Push the hip forward, feel that stretch in the front of the hip. And if you want to, you just lean the shoulders back, but keep the chin down looking forward. Keep engaging the tummy to help with the balance. And pushing that hip forward, get a really good stretch in the front of that hip. And then relax. Then sliding the right heel out in front of you, bend that left knee. Rest the hands in the center of the left thigh. Turn those right toes up towards the knee. And get a good stretch in the back of the leg and the hamstring and the calf. If you ease that right buttock up a little bit more, you get more stretch in that hamstring. Hold and stretch. And then just slide the foot in and change legs. Just slide the heel out so the knees are pretty much level. Hands in the center of that right thigh. Turn the toes up, push the hips up, or particularly that left hip up. And feel a good stretch all the way down the back of that leg. Hold and stretch. And then just slide the foot in and slowly come up. Checking your position, shoulders back and down. Lift the right arm up, drop the hand behind your head and ease the arm back. Stretch into the back of the arm. Because we did those push-up thingies. So you need to ease that arm back. Keep the elbow pointing up, tailbone pointing down. And stretch that tricep muscle. And the other arm, take it straight up, drop it down, give it a little push back, ease the arm back. Hold that there, arm close into the head, and just give it a little push. And then release, bringing the arms back down, chest open, drop that right ear while you slide the left hand down, seam of the trouser leg. Hold that there, stretch neck, stretch shoulder, and then turn the head, look down at that right shoulder, keeping the chest open. Slowly turn the head, look up and behind, into the left corner. Getting flexibility into the neck, and gently drop the chin all the way down into the chest, slide those shoulder blades down, shoulders right down away from the ears. Still got the tailbone pointing down with you. Zip up and hollow. So that pelvic floor is lifting. Use the weight of the head to stretch the back of the neck. Lengthen up. Drop the left ear while the right hand slides down. Neck, shoulder stretching. And then just turn the head, look down at that left shoulder. Keeping the torso absolutely stable. Turn the head and look up and behind into the right corner. Just encouraging flexibility into the neck. And gently drop the chin all the way down. Lifting the head back up against that imaginary wall. Clasp the hands, push down and lift up. And do a big bend to your right side. Press that left foot into the floor and get a good stretch down the side of your body. Try not to twist, keep that left shoulder back. Lengthen up again. Take it over to your left side. Lift the rib cage away from the hip. Try not to twist, just straight over. Get a really good stretch. And then lengthen back up. And then just bring the arms back down by your side and release those shoulders. Forward, up and round and back and down. Nice big, big, big shoulder roll. And then just opening the chest and do a little twist and loosen up. Relax the knees and loosen up. And there we are, session number 28 completed. Well done. Thank you so much for staying with me. And of course, it's really important, particularly in these lockdown times, to keep ourselves fit and mobile. It's all too tempting to sit and read a book or watch the television, but no, we need to keep moving. And thank you so much for staying with me. And I'll look forward to seeing you, or perhaps not me seeing you, but you seeing me next time. Bye for now.